black cats got Dave N. The white hats, they got Doug. The Google search engine has...
Welcome to another
Jimanen!
Yay!
Okay, see, I didn't forget this time.
So we're starting we're ending our me and Ann have just pretty much polished off a whole bottle of scotch together.
Yeah, lots of.
And so we're down to our last sip of our entire bottle of scotch. So we did finish off our whole bottle of scotch. There we go, scotch, whole bottle. Cheers.
Cheers for another edition of Jimanen Show. I think that's our 15th show.
Okay.
Yeah.
Do you have your scotch yet? Just finished off on a bottle of scotch.
Yeah. Thanks God that's not much.
Here's chocolate. Chasers.
It's product placement.
There you go. All right. So today we're gonna talk about. What would you like to talk about, Ann?
Well, I was planning to talk about blog post promotion.
Oh, awesome.
Yeah, because that's what I do, and many people are not doing that.
So you can't just write a blog post and have it go viral?
No.
You gotta promote that
yeah.
blog post?
Can you imagine that? That's actually, when I publish a blog post, it takes me another 40 to 60 minutes to promote it.
How do you promote it?
I have a number of tools which I will link to in our blog post, which you will find in that corner. There will be a link to the article. No, yes, this one. There will be a link, so you can click it and see all the links that I mentioned. So I'll have my own tools. They are all either free or very cheap.
So what are those tools?
So first of all, I definitely share to my following, and when sharing, I don't just tweet what I've written. I mention everyone that I mentioned in that article or link to. So I make sure to tag all the writers or brands or tools, whatever I mentioned in my article, and they are very always resourceful because I include lots of tools in any of my articles. So I make sure to tag the official Twitter accounts when I tweet that in the first time.
So for example, if you're tweeting a blog post, you should watch this video on the Jim and Ann thing. If we mention other people, you would in the end of the tweet be like at Bob Smith. And
I say like featuring or like with, or make sure that that's people included in the article.
What if you mention like 20 people in the article? You're not going to do 20.
Yeah, I break that down to several tweets and I make sure that I space them out. So one tweet goes out once an hour, for example, and the first one I just tweet and the rest of them I space out.
So in the blog post you write, you reference other people in the industry often, and when you go to tweet, you're also mentioning the article and those particular people, so that they specifically see it and ideally retweet it and then share it to their followers.
Yeah, ideally they click the link and come to see where they are featured. That's usually what they do because they're interested in what context they've been mentioned. So they go there. Sometimes they get comments from them and definitely get retweets or thanks or stuff like that, favorites. I do tag them on Facebook and Google+, which is a little bit different. And
again, by tagging, you just mean putting like at and then their Twitter handle?
That's just easy on Twitter. The only thing where it's easy is Twitter. You can just find them on Twitter, make sure that that's their account. Sometimes there are the same names for different people, so make sure that's the account of the person that you actually mentioned. Include the ad and the name in the tweet, and that's it for Twitter. Twitter will notify them, email them that they've been mentioned. So as easy as that. On Facebook, Google+, and LinkedIn, it's trickier.
You have to be connected to them to tag them.
First of all, I have to be connected. Secondly, it will not work unless I choose their name in the drop-down. So I cannot schedule those updates. I have to actually publish them right away. And when I do this on Google+, you need to use plus instead of at to tag people. And then they will suggest you the list of possible people that you name, and you have to select that name. Sometimes they will not even do that, so the drop-down will not work. So what I do, I find them on Google+, copy their ID, Google Plus ID, and use plus and then that ID. When that message goes live, that ID will be replaced with their name.
Cool.
So that's how I tag on Google Plus.
Okay.
Takes a little bit of time, but people do get emails every time I tag them, and they are happy because they've been mentioned in the blog post. So everyone wins.
Cool.
Yeah.
Does one of the tools help with tagging or finding people on a blog post? Or you mentioned that there were some tools that help.
So yes, so first thing I do is actually publish those updates tagging everyone. And I prefer to publish them, not schedule them, because that's when I'm live, I'm active. So if they respond, I can have a conversation with them. So I recommend every time you tag anyone on Twitter or Facebook or LinkedIn, do it. Don't schedule that if you can. If that's something you can do, publish that, because that's when you can actually talk to them in real life if they respond.
So if you're using a tool like Hootsuite, you would still want to publish it right then, not put it into a schedule to be published later.
I do schedule several tweets, even without tagging anymore, just because I already notify those people. But I do schedule several tweets even weeks ahead, and making sure that the time of the day when those tweets go live is different, because the lifespan of the tweet is very, very short. So if I tweet this in the morning, people will never see it the same day in the evening, for example. So I make sure that tomorrow that tweet goes live in the evening, and I use different wording, like some quote from the article or something like that. So make those tweet, what you include in the tweet tags different is a good way to experiment as well with people seeing it, missing it, reacting to it, and stuff like that. So I usually use TweetDeck to schedule tweets, because that's a desktop application, so I don't have to go anywhere. I can just open it and schedule like 5 to 10 tweets ahead of the week, and probably a couple of them in 2 weeks or so, if that article is evergreen, that's not breaking news or anything. So I can schedule it for people to see it in a few weeks. That's what I do with TweetDeck. I use Hootsuite to publish to my pages, business pages. I have like 20 of them. There is no way I can go ahead and manually publish that URL to like 5 of them. I don't publish all of them at the same time, of course, but I do that 5 pages, 2 Google Plus business pages, and say 5 Facebook business pages, 3 Facebook pages, so 5 overall. So to save time, I publish through Hootsuite or schedule them through Hootsuite, that the URL goes live. Then I may use Facebook ads like $5 or $5 on some of those, on any of those pages, to get people see that update, because Facebook will not show anything unless you pay for business. Yeah. So sometimes I do that. So I use TweetDeck, Hootsuite, and I also use a tool which is also free. It's Mav Social. It's a nice.
How do you spell that?
MAV Social.
Okay.
It's free. It also can connect all of your Twitter, Facebook, LinkedIn identities under one account, like pretty much like Hootsuite. How it's different is that it supports visual updates. You know, when you upload a picture to Google Plus or Facebook, instead of letting them pick it from the URL. Or same with Twitter, you know, when you see an image in your Twitter feed, not just text.
So it uploads it straight to Twitter or Facebook,
yes.
or Google Plus,
yes.
And the advantage of that is, I know at least with Facebook, but with Twitter and Google Plus, they tend to show things more if it's hosted on them.
Yes, and it's the same with Facebook too. Whenever you upload a picture, it tends to have a little bit more exposure, not even just because there's a picture, but we think that social media sites like Facebook, Google Plus somehow artificially give a little bit of boost to those updates. So Mav Social is very handy because it can upload pictures, and it also you can schedule. So it's another way, like today I already shared it everywhere, but tomorrow or in 2 days, on Monday, it can go as a visual update to all of my accounts which I want to. So it's not a very time-saving and very effective way to schedule updates and make it different, not just as TweetDeck or Hootsuite. They will just schedule your URL, and here you can schedule image updates that are great for exposure, likes, and engagement. So those 3 tools are my go-to when I do anything like that.
So that's how you do it when we're away at a conference or at a national park, and suddenly I'm looking at the phone like, Anne's been tweeting all day, and it's like, wow, we've been on a hike for the past few hours, and she did 20 tweets in the middle of the forest.
And that's exactly when I know that I'm leaving, I make sure that I spend 1 hour, 2 hours to schedule updates, especially to my Twitter, because Facebook is more personal. Like, I don't mind that it being inactive for a day or so, but Twitter is more for me. It's more professional. So it's like a blog for anyone else. I know that people expect me to tweet, so I sit down and I schedule my old articles or whatever I have 2 days ahead when I know that I'll be offline.
So that's why it looks like you're always online. And it looks like there's 20 different Ann Smarties out there. If I didn't work beside her, I would think there was 20 of her out there.
Yeah, scheduling is great, and using hashtag as well. It's another way. Sometimes I schedule with a hashtag.
Do you use any hashtag tools, or do you just whatever you think of off the top of your head? I'm going to hashtag.
Yeah,
this.
Most often that's from top of my head. There is a tool called Hashtagify, which I use. Not as often as I would like to, because I just don't have time for that research. That all those little things take lots of time. Like I said, I published an article and I spent like an hour to schedule, to tag, to find hashtags, to schedule from another tool, to share to my business pages. So it does take time. So I just use most obvious. I try to be more specific. For example, if I'm covering a conference, I will use the official hashtag. Absolutely. If I'm covering some local event, I will use the location hashtag, because that will work. If I'm tweeting a company that I know has a regular Twitter chat, may use it has any relation to that chat. I will use that.
And so, if there's a blog post that we do about, let's say, link building, the end of a tweet, you would do at and any people that were mentioned, and then pound internet marketing or link building or something.
Yeah.
All as one word and just pound. But you wouldn't use something like pound watch this neat video. Some people do things like that, or isn't this crazy, pound isn't this crazy or something, or they throw in weird pound things, and it's like, well, it's interesting and I see what you're thinking, but that's not going to help people.
Yeah, it's not. There is some people use hashtags as for humor, like I love this day, or I love my life can be a hashtag. It's more it's not efficient on Twitter because it just takes space without doing anything. So on Twitter I never do that. I could do that on Instagram, just because I would like that, with no other reason. But other than that, I try to use more specific, Twitter can be a good hashtag, or Google Plus is a hashtag. Names of the companies could be a good hashtag too, because some people are watching those, especially journalists. If you are covering,
especially who?
Journalists.
Oh, journalists.
Yeah, they do track hashtags. That's a good way to get discovered by them. If you have a story about something that you think could interest them, do use those specific hashtags, countries, cities, names of diseases, anything like that you see, that more specific. So I wouldn't hashtag with the word table. Oh no. Or with the word any weird.
What about SEO?
I would rather have.
Keep going.
Yeah, I would rather have SEO trends, or SEO a little bit more specific than just SEO, because that's a very overused hashtags. Probably you will not get much exposure from that. So I prefer to use some specific, interesting hashtags that I know people would be interested in.
Okay. And how else would you market a blog post? How else would you market a blog post?
If I had time, and if that's a huge blog post that I know people will find very useful, I would do outreach to people who already blogged about that but didn't cover that topic.
And what do you mean by outreach?
Email. I have lots of friends in this industry, so I would just email and say, hey, that's something. I get those emails.
I was going to say, do you ever
Yeah.
get those emails?
I get them every day. And in most cases, if I got that from a person I know, I will go ahead and I will definitely engage, share at some point, maybe leave a comment, because that's really something I do. If I get an email of why Microsoft is a bad company or something like that, I will not be interested. But if I get an email of what Google did yesterday, probably I'm interested. So
what does the email say? What does the email say to get someone to tweet something or link to something or share something?
What I personally really best react to is when they say, hey, you blogged about it and here is an update. Like, or here is more information, or here is what you missed, or here is how you can improve it. Because one day, I remember a great email from a guy. I mentioned Tumblr. How do you spell
Tumblr?
that? Yeah, that's so many letters in there. So I mentioned it on some blog and how hashtags work. And a guy emailed me a day or two after that saying, hey, you blogged about that, but I know that you missed these points, and that was like a paragraph or two of what I'm missing, that Tumblr supports only 30 hashtags, and they should be this and that and that, and that's how people find hashtags. So that was really, really interesting email, and I know that I really missed that because I don't use that platform that often. So, and here is a link to more, like, of
And
course
so
I will
you
share.
then you shared it. Okay.
Yeah.
Now, what if someone writes something that what if someone writes a great SEO blog post and says, "Hey, Ian, check out this great blog post."
I will.
How well do you know them? Oh, it's Bob, my friend. He'll be offended.
Now the problem is that in many cases I will not even open any email that say, check out my great SEO article. So I will not even give it a chance because it sounds like spam.
So when there's outreach, it's going to be a heck of a lot easier if there's some kind of association with that person.
Or even like in that one, I didn't know that guy, but he had that in the subject line here about your article. I think that was Moss on UMass or something, or maybe not, I don't remember, about like hashtags. So I definitely know that I just wrote an article about that. I definitely know that I would like to know more, and I definitely would open that. The more specific like you get in the subject, the more chances are that people will notice.
So what do you do if you get one of these email like outreaches? Is one of the things you evaluate was this sent to me personally, or do I think this email was sent to a whole bunch of other people?
It's usually so obvious. If there is a tiny detail about me, my article, or the name of that article with the mention why it could be improved.
So they have to prove they're human in that email. I think that's
sometimes people do send mass emails, which I don't mind, but I need to know that person really well.
Yeah, exactly. For most of the stuff that I get, I open it up and it's like you can tell that this isn't personalized, that this was probably sent to 1,000 other people, and that's just trash. If something starts out with, "Hey, Jim," and does something to prove they're human, like, "Just read your recent blog post about X, Y, and Z, and I think blah blah blah." It's like, all right, they couldn't have sent that out to 1,000 other people. They at least did something to prove they were human.
Yeah, but really, like, it's important because I'm busy. I realize that you want to save time sending those mass emails, but I'm busy too. So I will not spend my time on something which is massed email just because it's not worth my time. If that's something about my article, my project, or anything else, any other project that I know and I like or I covered, I will definitely give it a chance, and I respond. I usually don't respond to those emails, but people see that I reacted somehow, tweeted it or something like that.
So by outreach, if you write a great blog post and you're going to do outreach, you're looking at contacting a small amount of people.
Yes.
5 or 10 or
Yes.
20, and
Yes,
probably nothing
absolutely.
more than that. And
No,
those would be personalized to them.
Those people who I know definitely will find it useful, who will definitely know, like, many people email me about broken links, and I don't mind it because they say, hey, that old article of yours mentioned the tool that no more exists. And I would do.
Did I ever write to you?
No,
you have a broken
really.
link. I got a great fix for it.
if that's a real fix, why not?
It's making the web better one link at a time.
It's making the web better, and I never mind that. And I know that old article of mine probably is a bad experience because people go there and click that link and it doesn't work. So it's for my readers as well. I'll definitely appreciate if anyone finds something that's... And tools go broke all the time. Some really awesome tools do not exist anymore. So if you have a good alternative, why not? I will definitely update that article and link to that too.
I've heard some people do that for link building.
Well, I mean, if that makes sense in that article, do I care why they emailed me, and if that's their
true.
Pure desire to make the web better, or if that's their link building effort? Do I really care if that's making my article better? I don't mind at all.
I like that.
Like we've all been there, right? So that's pretty much one thing. Another thing that I forgot to mention is in our industry we have really great niche. How do you promote niche? I think it doesn't. All people do that in different ways. So niche communities that also can be a good value for most of your content. For example, we have Biz Sugar, or we have even the Growth Hackers is another bookmarking community that appreciate any tips on growth, marketing, and stuff like that. That's a great way to get discovered, and there are lots of niche bloggers there who also both discover and then they link to your content from roundups. That's very effective strategy from if you want to get like weekly or monthly roundups from those bloggers' links and stuff. So definitely explore those in your topic, whatever you can get active there as well. I use Growth Hackers and really love them because they will not send you loads of traffic, which is okay because there are people who are interested in that topic, and there are no customers or people who would convert on my site, for example, and that's okay because they have all those publishers and writers and bloggers who will love my content and link to it, which is another benefit of creating content. So I do that too, but not for all my articles, of course. I will dominate their upcoming feeds if I try to promote all my articles there.
And I guess, of course, it's given that whatever is written for a blog post, I guess number one, it has to be good.
Yeah.
if it's not good, all of this stuff, and that
doesn't matter.
I think that's where a lot of people they don't have great people blogging for them. I think that's where a lot of companies they're like, we heard we need some fresh and evergreen content. We heard we needed a blog. We're putting something out every single week, and you go in, you look at it. There's no social signals. There's no comments on it. It's nothing of interest to the general public. And so I guess that's where maybe we should come up with a handful of ideas on different types of blog posts to blog about that are of interest.
Sure.
If you identify the influencers within your industry, ask them all for an interview. There's a blog post.
I've seen so many new blogs, like they just boost with the traffic after this strategy. Find the bloggers to round up in the interview, like ask one question each. Let them...
So 50 bloggers answer this one question.
Yeah.
See how they all answer it. I know that Ray Hoffman does she has a link building roundup every year where I think there's like 20 link builders that all answer, I think, like 10 questions. There's been the ones where it's like 50 people are asked one question, or 10 people are asked 10 questions, and
I like the ones that I've seen recently, like name your favorite tool, and then they make that rankings like this tool has been mentioned by so many bloggers, and this is number one. The second tool has been mentioned by 3 bloggers or something like. And then after all of that, like give the summary of what the bloggers have been talking about, and then go the actual answers with why, screenshots and stuff like that. Really, really great content.
Where could someone find good writers? Do you know anywhere where people could find good blogger writers for them?
I don't know. If I were looking, I would go to existing bloggers in my industry and invite them to write for me. That's my obvious choice, because the writer is not just writes. It's not who writes the content. What we really need is the name, the social media influence, their friends, community. So it comes all together with the established or like active. Then they don't have to be like absolutely copy bloggers or pro bloggers in your industry, because those already have their own business. They probably will not be interested in writing.
Is there somewhere where I could, like, let's say I've got a client who does home and garden. Is there anywhere I could go to, like, where can I find professional gardeners or gardening experts? Is there, places like that?
Gardening communities?
What was that?
Gardening communities. There are lots of bloggers there. Like, definitely would go and find, just use Google. The other tool that I really love is BuzzSumo. Do you know it?
Mm-hmm.
It also, just for any word, it will rank you. It will find the best articles, and you can set the time frame, for example. Unlike Google, where you can just find old blogs that never get updated anymore. But on BuzzSumo, you can check, like, find those that already active and they're still active, and then find authors, and you can also search by the author name. So find more articles by this author, and you will get like where else they're writing. Maybe they're writing for your competitor, and then or they're writing for huge publications. That's a good for their cloud as well.
What is my blog you?
Yeah, we have, that's what we're hinting at, right?
No, I wasn't giving any hints or setups. I'll just get right to the point. Tell me about my blog you.
Yeah, and that's the community of bloggers who actually, what they do is help each other create content. For example, I have a question, I have a draft of like 3 paragraphs of some content which I'm not happy with, because there is no angle, there is no any original point, that's not specific enough. Probably I've written about that already, but I already have that content and I want it to be improved. So what I do is I go to my blog view, I upload it there, and then invite collaborators. That's how we call them. So they go in, they put their own thoughts, paragraphs, they suggest links, infographics, whatever they want, whatever they talk about from their experience, add their favorite tools. And at the end, when they have a lot of input, I go and approve any or reject if I don't like that's a good bit. And I have like a huge article, several thousand of words from all those people. Many of them all of them are, of course, somehow mentioned that things for them and stuff. And I publish that on my site. And all those people get notified by email that the article they collaborated on has been published, so they go ahead and share it as well, leave comments. So it's like the whole process of collaboration that results in better content and more shares. And we do those expert roundups as well, like interviews, so you can find people to interview right there, or you can find people to, hey, I want to write an article about gardening, but I don't have any specific angle. What would you like to read? And people would go in, suggest some angles and stuff. So it's blogging community that has all of that built in, and we have the rankings of the bloggers as well, so you can see which bloggers participated and which topics they have experience in. Are they open to write for anyone else? Are they open for the interview? Stuff like that.
Nice.
Thanks, Jim.
You're welcome.
Oh yes, I forgot the tool. Another tool that I'm using every time after I publish the blog post. Immediately once I publish anything, I submit that article to Viral Content Bus.
Viral Content Bus.
Yes.
What is Viral Content Bus?
So what?
Should we put in a little disclaimer that Ann owns, or I don't know, Ann owns some part of Viral Content Buzz and my blog you.
Yeah, I'm not the founder. I'm the co-founder. So like the how do we call it? Like not even the partner, but I co-own the tool. And what it does is you go in, select your favorite topics, and every day you have a dashboard on those on moderated. They manually moderate everything. Moderated articles on that topic, so you can schedule them to go to your social media profile or tweet them right away, and as a result of that, you can also submit your articles and specify which topics they are, and they will go to other people's dashboards and they will also share them. So it's like collaborative sharing of topical articles on something that you're interested in. Like I always have the SEO category there, so like it's part of my routine. I go there every day or every other day and schedule that to go in my Twitter feed so that it's always updating. And you can set how often you want those to go as well. So like I want that to only once an hour I want an update. So you just go make a queue of everything that goes to your Twitter, making sure that that's something that you really approve and like and read, and that will go to your followers, and those people will be happy.
So two great tools to use are my blog you to make your blog posts better, and the Viral Content Buzz to help other people.
Yeah, I didn't ask Jim to endorse that.
I know. I had to bring it right out because you weren't going there.
I was too shy.
What other companies do you own that we can bring up? Man, how many? You probably got 20 of them.
No, I'm done.
Oh.
But it's really interesting because I'm using those tools every day, so I'm their active user, not just their creator. So it's telling you about that it's something that I find myself useful. So I'm using them as both of them. I'm using every day, basically.
Awesome.
Yeah, and the good thing is that you are, for example, I have an SEO following, and I always share SEO projects from Viral Content Bus queue, but I don't have any following like in business or startup, for example, or in any different topic that I don't have that strong following. So I can, if I have something that I need to share, I would go there and submit it to the business category. So people with different following, more relative to that, would promote it, and I will get those cross niche promotion, which many people are missing because we're usually known in only one or two industries, not all of them. So it's another way to get those neighboring niches. How do you pronounce that?
I believe it's niche.
And the
niche.
The plural. Niches?
Niches?
Niches. I always want to say niches, for example.
Yeah. Do you say cash or what was the other one? Cash or cashed or there's a
cashier.
Tomato or tomato?
Tomato.
Mm.
That's
potato
right.
or potato?
I'm not a pro potato.
All right.
So that's my process. Do you have any other tools? Are we missing anything? What? I think that's pretty much.
You know, that's pretty much. I mean, there's other more professional. I don't know. Big companies like us, we have other resources at our disposal, like knowing actual journalists and actual major websites that come to us and say, "Do you have anything great?" And we're like, "As a matter of fact, we do here." But the average Joe is not going to have that. I mean, I guess there's part of it. You know, the average Joe or the average website. There's a certain amount that you can do, and certainly the better that your content is, the better it's going to travel. but I guess there's also advantages with working with companies that use all of this plus more and have relations with other people. And if we have something really interesting, submitting it to things like Reddit or Stumble Upon or others. You kind of gotta have to know people or know connect. Like, not only does the content have to be great, but it helps a lot if you know the right people. Because if the right people are pushing it and
or
promoting
to be the
it,
right person. Like if you are a power user of Reddit, that's of course you will use it to promote other people's content and your content.
If you're like brand new user that just signed up and have never submitted something before, and you're submitting stuff to your website, you're
not going
to go anywhere.
Yeah, that's why I didn't mention that. Reddit, Stumble Upon, it's not like you can use it no matter how many followers you have, like on Twitter, or there are no. You have to spend 1, 2, maybe 3 years to get a really, really good reputation there to have any success on that. So it's good if one of your readers that you will bring from Facebook ads, for example, would find it good enough and they have their following on Stumble Upon or Reddit, and they will submit it for you. It happened to me. That's how I actually discovered Stumble Upon back maybe 7 years ago. Some of my readers discovered my content there, and one day I had like 3,000 people coming in one day. So that's how I discovered the tool.
We've had that with some of our tools, some of our free tools. Suddenly someone would submit it to Reddit or whatever, and suddenly you're getting a lot of traffic.
It's good, but to have that, you need actual readers coming in. So that's my routine, is targeting discovering people.
We didn't talk about pay-per-click and promoting blog posts.
Like Google or social media?
All of that. I guess for Google, I'm thinking Google AdWords, probably not. But in things like Twitter, do you use promoted post? You mentioned a little bit like paying Facebook a little bit of money for company pages to get them seen in Facebook. I've used the promoted post in Twitter a little bit. I haven't had a whole lot of success.
I've tried all of them. I've tried LinkedIn ads just recently. They made it very cool looking right now. It works pretty much like Facebook, so you can, as a page, you can promote updates. Like, there is a feed on LinkedIn. So, and I can post anything like on Twitter there, or I can write a long form article there. And now you can pay LinkedIn to give it a little boost, which is a nice ad. I just tried it a few days ago with one of my long forms articles. Get a lot of exposure in terms of views, likes, and clicks, which is a good thing, I think. And it's very affordable too. So I think that LinkedIn is going in the right direction. They used to have very, very expensive ads, really B2B oriented, and now they are going like en masse. So they are going to help smaller businesses to get some exposure to their content too. So I would recommend trying that. And Facebook, definitely, if you are using Facebook pages, you will never see any exposure, any interactions unless you pay. So it's not the matter of a choice.
It's for the business pages.
Yeah, for the business pages. For personal pages, they don't have ads, and usually it goes well if you have some friends anyways. So, but on pages you have to pay. But it's not expensive too. It's think like $5 or $10 per campaign. That's probably what an average of article budget. That's just for people.
What if you put
notice.
$1,000
I've never tried.
You probably have traffic from all sorts of other countries and stuff too.
Yeah, but you can specify in the settings which countries those people need to be coming from. So I usually select those that English-speaking countries because that's what I write on.
I think I have a $5 a day ad budget on my LinkedIn. That's some weird ad on my personal thing. Some weird thing. I don't know if it's only been going a couple weeks, so I don't know if it's converting any.
Yeah, I tried LinkedIn back in the days when they were too expensive for smaller businesses. But just recently I got an email from them that I have some coupon or something, and I was like, I just out of curiosity, I wanted to see what they are coming to, and it looks very much like Facebook. So you promote an update, your own LinkedIn update, so it's not an external link, it's your update, and you have you can specify the countries, you can specify the interests of those audience. You will see how many people will see that update according to your settings, so you can tweak the settings to save or to spend more, whatever your budget is. So I liked it. I will definitely try again. Got some very good results, so something to try as well, especially if that's relevant. Like if you're career oriented or if you're B2B, that's content on that's definitely something I would try these days.
Cool.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
We hope that those links and those tools and those tips will be very useful to you, and we'll see you next.
Blog on and blog great. You know, I realize that 98% of the people that follow me are pretty much just, they're following everyone, and pretty much in a week later when I don't follow them back, they're going to unfollow me. It's kind of funny, I have a little tool that shows people that have unfollowed me, and it's like all the people that I see today, all these spam accounts where you can tell, you know, they're following 3,100 people, and they're followed by, you know, 1,000 something, and they're just... But then again, how do you grow from scratch with a Twitter account? I mean, you know, I guess part of it is you do want to follow a whole bunch, and as part of that game, like follow a bunch and then unfollow when they don't follow back. What's kind of the... What do you do as a struggle?